Hey, what is up, everyone? Welcome to the Character Forge, episode 2. My name is Princess Oliver. I am one of the characters on Dungeons Divided. One of the players, that is. I play Gadu, the Turtle Druid. And on this show, I will present to you either one or two builds that can be used in Dungeons and Dragons, either by the players or by the DM if they want to use them as ways to help the party or ways to fight the party. Totally up to them. And all these builds are not only meant to be viable, but all these builds are, more importantly, fun to play. They all have a theme to them, and they all have a great way that you can build a character or a personality around. All these builds are going to be available on the Patreon account that I just started up here. I will have every single character from level 1 up until level 20, all printable, ready to go. So all you got to do is print, and you're done. I also include with it the guide that I used to create these characters, which goes through all the feats. It goes through all of the progressions on which levels to take when, because all those are very important for these types of characters. So all that support helps me continue doing this channel, continue doing these builds, and thank you. All right, let us get right to it. So today's episode is all about a barbarian rogue hybrid. Another rogue hybrid, I know, but they go so well together, I just could not pass this one up. I call this one the Ancestral Phantom. And starting off, we are going to go, for my build, I like to go gnome. Gnome barbarians are just hilarious. And also, you get a lot of really good options with this race. So you'll get gnome cunning, which gives you advantage on all intelligence, charisma, and wisdom saving throws, which is really going to help you stay in the battle and not be charmed or anything like that. And you also get natural illusionist. Kind of goes along with our build of kind of talking to these spirits and whatnot. You can also create these illusions, which kind of goes with it as well. Speaking with small beasts, that also kind of goes along with our tribal sort of vibe that we're going with for this character. There's also a bunch of different races you can go with for this build. Gnome, I feel like, works the best because it covers your biggest weakness, which is going to be crowd control, some way of getting you off the battlefield. And that kind of mitigates that a little bit. For the other variants on these races, you can also go Goliath if you want to be a little bit tankier. You also get a little bit more of that strength constitution, which is going to be our kind of main stats. You can go Kalistar if you want resistance to psychic damage, because psychic damage is really like the number one killer, I feel like, of barbarians. You can also go Shifter, specifically the one that's, I can't remember the name of the form, but you shift into the form where it increases your movement speed. That way you get 10 more movement speed, and you also get the option to kind of dodge away from someone if they try to approach you and move 5 feet away as without provoking opportunity attacks. So it's a little bit more run and gun kind of style with a Shifter. Or, of course, you can go with any flying race, but I don't think flying is really not necessary for what we're doing here. So, key points. How does this character fit into a party? This character is going to be mostly a mobility tank. You're going to run in, you're going to cripple an opponent, do good damage, and then you're going to basically run away. It's kind of hit and run tactics, so to speak. So you're more of a mobility tank. Your whole purpose is to really not get hit. You're not sitting there and sponging up a bunch of damage. Instead, you're debuffing this opponent so that they can't damage the rest of your party, and then you are basically dashing past them or whatever and getting out of the way. Of course, rage with hit and run tactics is the way it's going to be played. Once you rage, you'll get resistance to all sorts of physical damage. We already have those saving throw advantages as well for all of our all of the magic that's going to be done against us. So we already have a lot of defense just as a base barbarian here. What are the strengths and weaknesses of this character? The strengths are it completely shuts down any sort of attacking character. Anyone who uses any sort of attack, whether it be a spell attack or range attack or melee attacks and whatnot, it shuts them down. The reason why is because in Barbarian Tree, we're going to be going the Ancestral Guardian. And the Ancestral Guardian path for the Barbarian, every time you hit an enemy, they get disadvantage against anyone else but you. And even if they do damage, they only do half damage. So that opponent, whoever you hit, is going to have to fight you or just be at an extreme disadvantage. It's a built-in taunt, which is extremely effective. And it has a decent amount of burst damage, especially at low levels. Its weakness are going to be ranged attackers, especially ones that are not debuffed, because they just get to shoot at you for free, and your AC and health isn't the highest as far as tanks go, but it's definitely still pretty beefy. And once again, being in rage form means that you're taking half of this physical damage. And then casters are going to be a big issue as well, but it kind of gets offset by the advantage on the dex saving throws that you're going to get at later barbarian levels, along with being a gnome, which kind of just gives you those resistances to all those saving throws. Let's see if we have, let's see. Okay, cool. So let me go ahead and go to the page here. Let's see if this is working. Everything seems to be going okay. Cool. Just checking on the stream here. Hello, we have 2 people visiting. How you doing? All right, so once again, I said we're going to be going gnome for this. Gnome barbarians are hilarious, and it works really well with our build. I like the forest gnome. You can go with other gnomes, but I just chose the forest gnome because I feel like it fit the best as far as going with this kind of tribal barbarian feel. The class we're going is barbarian, level 1. Level 1 is going to give you unarmored defense, but we don't really care about that too much. We're just going to be using medium armor and possibly a shield if you want. And abilities, we're going to go point by system once again. The preferred route that I found for this character is 15 strength, 14 dex, 14 constitution, 8 intelligence, 12 wisdom, and 8 charisma. I went with 12 wisdom because wisdom saving throws are a very popular saving throw. Wisdom and constitution are going to be the 2 most common saving throws you're going to have to make. And you should get advantage on both of those with a +1 and +2. So that gives you a lot of defenses already right there as well. Yeah, I chose Outlander for the background. It's just a nice, you get skill, you get tools, you get languages. The background is not really too important for this. Kind of just play it the way you want to play it. The equipment, I'm starting off with medium armor chain shirt. And really at level 1, I feel the best way to play this class is to use a short sword and a shield. You don't have to use a shield. You can't just go full barbarian mode and double up on those short swords if you wanted to. Or you can get really stylized with it and play something like a double-bladed scimitar. The problem with the double-bladed scimitar is that you can't get the Revenant feat unless you're an elf. And it also requires a feat to get the Revenant feat. The Revenant blade. I think it's called the Revenant blade feat, which is an Eberron, which lets you use that double-bladed scimitar as a finesse weapon for those sneak attack damage bonuses. It's fun for flavor. The double-bladed scimitar is just so much fun. It also gives you +1 AC, and it's a really good weapon. It's 2d4s instead of just 1d6, so you're going to be dealing consistent amounts of better damage. And then the shield, of course, is just a little bit more AC. You don't need to, but like I said, shield, double short swords, up to you. And the way we're going to build this class, we're going to go straight into Barbarian, and we're going to just pump Barbarian until level 5. So I'll just go ahead and pump it up. We're going to go Reckless Attack. Reckless Attack, of course, starting at 2nd level, you can throw aside all concerns for defenses, and you attack. Doing so gives you advantage on your weapons attacks, but also gives other people advantage on their attacks against you. That's fine. With our build, that actually works perfectly. The reason being, we're going to have advantage on every single attack we're making, so we're going to be hitting more attacks. And since we have advantage, once we go rogue later, we'll be getting sneak attack on every single attack. Very cool. Or sneak attack once a turn, that is, on every single attack we have. And we get Danger Sense. Danger Sense is you have advantage on dexterity saving throws. It's great for sort of AoEs or anything else that's trying to hit you. Just really works well as a tank as well. Our Primal Path. This is where we start to annoy the DM with our shenanigans. We are going to go Ancestral Guardian. And the Ancestral Guardian tree, you'll see you get Ancestral Protectors. Starting when you choose this path at 3rd level, Spectral Warriors appear when you enter your rage while you're raging. The first creature you hit with an attack on your turn becomes the target of the warriors, which hinder its attacks. Until the start of your next turn, that target has disadvantage on any attack roll that isn't against you. And when that target hits a creature other than you with an attack, that creature's resistance to that creature has resistance to the damage, so it does half damage. This is like the best taunt in the game, in my opinion. It's so good. You hit them. It's not necessary. It's a soft taunt, I guess you could say. They're not forced to attack you, but really they are. I mean, they can attack this other person over here. They're going to have disadvantage, and they're going to do half damage, even if they hit. It's a great way to protect your party. After that, we get ability score improvement. The very important thing to do here right away is to go and get mobility, mobile. The mobile feat is going to add 10 more movement to your speed, and is going to allow you, when you use the dash action, Difficult terrain doesn't cost extra movement. We're going to be dashing basically every turn. And when you make a melee attack against a creature, you don't provoke opportunity attacks. So now we get to go in, attack, get that good damage bonus, eventually get sneak attack bonus as well, and then just run away for free. And that is it for that one. We get the extra attack at level 5, and we get faster movement at level 5 as well. So our movement is already up to, I believe, 50. Yeah, with mobile and fast movement, we already have 50 movement speed, which is pretty high, especially with the dash action. That should be so hard to say. You get 100 movement speed. So we're going to dash, slice someone, run away, and there's no way they can catch you, really. You're going to be so far away from them that they can't even do anything. Also with the debuffs as well. After that, we are going to go into Rogue. Now, Rogue has this subclass. At level 3, you can get the archetype of Phantom. Phantom works extremely well with this build, not only thematically. We have these ancestors, and now we have these phantoms as well that we can basically take the souls and manipulate the souls of enemies and such like that. It's very thematic for the build, and it works extremely well with our damage and build and in combat and everything as well. Proficiencies here. I like to go, well, you get athletics from Outlander. I chose athletics from Outlander, so that's great there. We definitely want to make sure we have, it's up to you. I like getting stealth as a rogue. It's just kind of a built-in. You don't have to because we're technically a barbarian. We're not really a rogue necessarily. And then, of course, we want athletics as expertise. And then I go just once again stealth again under expertise. So already we have the athletics proficiency as a barbarian. So now we are extremely athletic. We get sneak attack. This starts at level 1, so as soon as you put that first level into Rogue, you're going to be dealing a sneak attack damage every single time you hit while you're raging and using those attacks, those reckless attacks from the Barbarian tree. And then Roguish archetype, Phantom. We get Whispers of the Dead. Now you get to choose a skill or tool. Basically, I think you get to change it as well. You can choose a different proficiency every time you... let's see. Shares this knowledge with you. You lose this proficiency when you use this feature to choose a different proficiency. Yeah, so you can kind of just change on the fly. This is really cool. You want, proficiency in Arcana or Bagpipes or Deception or whatever else you want, done. You can switch them out on the fly, and it makes you very versatile. Let's just click on Flute. Sure, doesn't matter to me. I don't want to choose a main stat because we don't really have to rely on that. And then you get Wails from the Grave. As you nudge someone closer to the grave, you can channel the power of death to harm someone else as well. Immediately after you deal your sneak attack damage to a creature on your turn, you can target a second creature that you can see within 30 feet of the first creature and roll half of the number for your sneak attack dice. Round it up. The second creature takes necrotic damage equal to the roll's total, as wails of the dead sound around them for a moment. Thematically, this works really well with our character once again, because we are this kind of tribal warrior that can speak with people from the other side, or creatures from the other side. And you can use this feature number equal to your proficiency bonus, and at this point we already have a decent proficiency. So we can use it several times. It's just an extra bonus of damage. It does necrotic damage, which is great. It usually hits most creatures unless they're undead or something like that. And it's a nice way to kind of split off and do damage to someone else that you can't see. All right. After that, we are going to... I pump Rogue up until level 5, I believe. So let me see. Let's click on 5. Now that we have our archetype, we get another ability score improvement. And my favorite thing to choose after this is actually to go with Slasher. Get another feat. We're going to be a feat beast. And you're going to get Slasher. Now you get to increase your strength or dexterity by 1. The way we built our character, we're only 1 point off of having an extra strength, 1 point off of having extra dex as well. I like to go strength, increases chance to hit, increases damage. So we'll go with strength there. So let me choose this again here. Strength score. And Slasher. Every time you hit an enemy that deals slashing damage, that enemy's movement speed is reduced by 10 until its next turn. So not only are they debuffed, but now their movement speed is also reduced by 10, so they can't even catch you or probably some of your other party members, because their usual 30 or so movement speed or whatever they have turned into 20. That's a big debuff for most creatures and monsters. You're talking 30% movement reduction for most people on the base. That's pretty good. Let's see here. After that, Uncanny Dodge. Whenever an attacker that you can see hits you with an attack, you can use a reaction to half the damage against you. You don't have to go level 5 in the very beginning, but I like the Uncanny Dodge reaction because it's just a good tank feature. It's just a good way to prevent some of the damage is going to be dealt to you. Now after that, we're going to go Barbarian until level 8. And Barbarian until level 8, we get, after the fast movement, we get the Spirit Shield. It's a great support tank ability. Basically, whenever someone attacks one of your allies or someone within 30 feet of you, you can use your reaction to reduce the damage they take by 2d6. And this increases with your Barbarian level as you level as well. A great way to kind of support and shield your allies. So even if they do get hit by other enemies that you didn't debuff, you still get to shield them now for these 2d6 damage. You can use this every turn too. It's just your reaction, so there's no sort of limit on how many times you can use this. Feral Instinct. By level 7, your instincts are so honed they have advantage on initiative rolls. That is very strong for what we're doing because being a mobile tank and kind of running through these enemies, just slicing as we go through, is going to be... It's going to be much more advantageous if you get to go first. So, great ability. Additionally, you can't be surprised unless you are incapacitated. And you can only use this if you rage your first turn, which we're going to be doing. So, it's a great, once again, another great ability for tanking, especially with this build we're doing. We also get another ability score improvement. I like to go for another feat, which is another thing that's going to maybe annoy some of your DMs out there. I like to go with Alert. I feel like this is a very overlooked feat by many people, but it's extremely strong. You get +5 bonus to your initiative. That is huge bonus. That's like having +5 dexterity. That's like having 20 dexterity. That's ridiculous. You can't be surprised while you're conscious. Feral Instinct, it does double up a little bit on Feral Instinct, but the better part about this is other creatures do not gain advantage on attacks against you, even if they are unseen. So if there's an archer hiding in a tree shooting you that you don't see, they don't get advantage. If a rogue sneaks up behind you with invisibility or stealth, he can't get a sneak attack on you. It's a good way of, once again, it adds to your tankiness with having these creatures not be able to use advantage on you. But also, you get that +5 to bonus initiative. And now, our initiative, if you look at our character page, is going to be a +7, and we have advantage on it. A +7 with advantage on initiative. Have fun going first in basically every single fight that you're going to be fighting. Cool. Now that we have those rogue levels, we are going to go... It's up to you. There's 2 different ways to go here. You can go for the more damage route, which I think thematically fits with the character a little bit better. Or you can go more of a support tank build and just kind of pump Barbarian. You'll get more hit points, and you will unlock the features of the Vengeful Spirits. You'll get more of those shields to protect your allies. Those 2d6s will go up to like a 4d6. So you'll get a lot more of that shielding for your allies. And you get Consult Spirits, which is you get Augury or Clairvoyance, which is a really fun spell to play with outside of combat with your DM. There's a lot of just really unique things you can really play on with that. So that's a fun way to go, but I prefer going with the Rogue. So we're done with Barbarian the way I'm building it currently. And instead, we're actually going to pump the rest of our abilities, levels, into Rogue. The reason why is because at level 9, we get Tokens of the Departed. Actually, the main reason is because we're going to get more sneak attack damage every turn. So your damage is just going up and up and up with a Rogue. Whereas a Barbarian, the damage kind of just stagnates and kind of just falls flat. You don't get that persistent rage that just lasts for forever, but you don't really need to. The rage... In our build, the rage isn't necessary. The rage is just for the damage. We're using it for our sneak attacks and the resistances. So, and we'll have it up at pretty much every fight, unless you're fighting like 5 times of a session or something like that. Cool. Expertise. We get expertise again. You can go to whatever you want. Thieves' Tools is great if you want to go more of the rogue route. Intimidation is pretty good too. But Intimidation is a charisma stat, and charisma is kind of one of our dump stats. So you're not really that scary. Evasion is great. Evasion is whenever you avoid a spell, like a Ice Storm or like a Fireball or something that explodes, something that hits an area, you get take half damage no matter what. And if you succeed your dexterity saving throw, you instead take no damage. It's more of an evasion tank, adding just more and more to our ways to mitigate our own damage, which is great. Ability score improvement. This one is kind of up to you. I like going for, this is where you can either take the Revenant Blade, which isn't on here because you have to turn on the feat section of D&D Beyond, because this feat isn't necessarily allowed for our character. Revenant Blade is, you can use a double-bladed scimitar, add the finesse feat, and be able to add one to your AC as well. Basically, in the feat, it says that only the elves are allowed to learn this weapon, and anyone else who has this weapon is kind of seen as either they stole it or they killed someone for it, and it's very taboo. It's like a cherished weapon, which could be a really fun way to build a character. And if you talk to your DM about it and just say, hey, I want to use the Revenant Blade feat, I was taught how to use this by the elves, or maybe I fought someone, I learned the fighting style, whatever you want to come up with, totally up to you. It's not necessary, it's just for flavor. I love that weapon. That feat works really well with our builds, thematically and visually. Instead, we also have Charger. Now, Charger, it says that when you use your action to dash, you can use a bonus action to attack, but I believe that's a typo. I believe the creators, what they meant to say is whenever you dash and attack, you get to use this. So whenever you use your dash, which as a rogue is a bonus action, and attack, you get a +5 damage bonus to that attack. Since we're dashing every turn, that's just going to be an additional 5 damage, just flat 5 damage on everything. Pretty good boost. You can also shove people, but I don't really foresee that happening, but it is an option. We also have, like I said, Revenant Blade, and then of course we just have straight up stats. Stats is never a bad way to go, especially this late in the game. We want to start getting maybe some more strength, increases our chance to hit, increase our damage, increase constitution for those saving throws, a little extra health, totally up to you. We'll be getting a lot more stats as we go along. All right. Now we're on to Tokens of the Departed. Some really nice flavor for this Phantom Rogue build. And since we hit level 9, we get that extra, every 2 levels as a rogue, every odd level, you gain an extra sneak attack dice. So right now our sneak attack is, I can't do the math. I'm so bad at math. We get 1, then we get 2, and then we get a 3, and now we have a 4. So we have a 4 sneak attack bonus. 4 for the attack, and then also an extra 2d6 for whoever else you want to send those souls to kind of damage. Now this one is, basically when a life ends around you, you're able to use your reaction to snatch that soul before it departs into whatever realm that it's supposed to be going to. And now you have the creature's soul stuck in a little sort of trinket, which you can decide, your DM can decide kind of what it is, if you want to go with some sort of theme as gems or little, keychains or whatever you want to put on your character, whatever way you want to flavor, it's totally up to you. And now you have this creature's soul trapped into an object that you now control in your possession. You can have a maximum number of soul trinkets equal to your proficiency bonus, which at this point is pretty high. So we have 5 or 6 or something like that. But I think it's 5. And you can't create one while at your maximum, of course. And you can use the trinket in 3 different ways. The first one is you have advantage on death saving throws and constitution saving throws, just while having one in your possession. You don't have to use one. You don't have to break one or anything to have this. This just happens. Advantage on death saving throws and constitution saving throws is a great way, is a great thing to have on your tank. When you deal sneak attack damage on your turn, you can destroy one of the soul trinkets and get a free use of Wails from the Grave. There are uses on the Wails of the Grave. You can only use it so many times per short rest. If you want to use one again, you can just break one of the gems and you get a free use of it. Pretty useful. As an action, you can also destroy one of the gems, or I keep saying gems, trinkets, whatever you want them to be. And you get to ask the soul in the trinket one question before you release it, sort of kind of holding its soul hostage. And it can lie to you. It can tell you whatever you want, or it can tell you the truth. And you can also roll for, insight and stuff like that to see if it's lying to you. But it's pretty useful if you kill an enemy and you want to, interrogate this bandit or whatever, like, where is your bandit leader? I'll let your soul go if you tell me. I think that's pretty awesome. And once again, thematically fits really well. I'm going to pump strength. I already said that, so let's go ahead and do that. And then we go all the way until level 12. We're going to level 12 because we get one more ability score improvement and one more sneak attack dice. The ability score improvement that we're doing here, up to you. Once again, you can go with any feats that you want. I think that it's just better to pump stats at this point so you can just really get all those saving throws and everything else. I think we only need 1 more point to max out our strength. Oh no, we need 3 more points, sorry. So let's go 2 more strength again. And then we'll go 1 more strength and I think 1 more constitution. And then we have, oh no, never mind. Now we go 2 constitution. Cool. We also get reliable talent. It's okay. It doesn't really help our build too much, but it just adds a little bit extra stuff to us. Whenever you make an ability check that lets you add your proficiency bonus, you can treat a d20 roll of 9 or lower as a 10. So whenever you're proficient in something, you get at least a 10 on it. So these rolls, especially on things like athletics and stuff, I think your bonus is at like a 15 at this point. So you'll get a 15 plus 10, that's a 25 minimum for your athletics check. Pretty crazy. All right, we already kind of talked about the abilities. We went point by description, equipment. We want to use medium armor. There's no reason to really go light armor, and you'll still be able to sneak around in the medium armor. So things like, you know, starting off with something like a chain shirt is fine. Really works with the build pretty well. Let's see if this works. Yeah, there we go. You can see the whole screen now. Oh no, the music cut out though. Oh well, we'll go back to this one instead. You have to have that flavor. So yeah, we have a chain shirt we're starting off with. I'll go back to the equipment so you can see here. We have double-bladed scimitar as an option. It's not the best option. Good for all-around damage. Costs a lot of money in the beginning of the game. I don't recommend it. It costs 100 gold. That's your whole starting gold. So you'd have that and nothing else, which is fine because you're a barbarian. You don't really need armor. But it's up to you. We either go 2 short swords for your offhand attack, but it's not necessary. We really only need those 2, that extra attack and the regular attack with the short sword. And you might be saying, yeah, oh, you can just use a rapier for more damage, but a rapier deals piercing damage, and we want to do that slashing damage to be able to reduce people's movement speed by additional 10. So we are kind of stuck with the short sword, considering that is the only finesse item that does slashing damage. Well, not the only, but the best one. And yeah, a shield for some extra AC. So you're sitting at like around 17 or so starting AC. Not the worst. You're able to sit there, tank some hits, and really just disrupt the enemies on the battlefield. So yeah, that is the build. Don't forget to go down and hit the donate button to help our streams. Hit the Discord button if you want to join our chat and everything else. We have trying to get a very active community going. We have a lot of people in there chit-chatting, having fun. And yeah, once again, if you want to kind of visit that that Patreon that I created here, just check it out. You can find all the builds that I'm doing there as a printable option. And that sums it up for today. I only have 1 build for you. Next time I might do 2 since these are a little bit short, but I want to make sure that I keep them very precise and easy to build for people watching. So thanks so much for watching, and I will see you next time.